Hey, thank you for visiting the Sequential Geek channel. I beat that Sequential Geek. 2 comic book shops I checked out yesterday, Saturday. It's like around 4:20 in the morning, the 15th right now. I'm doing this. Got a few comics over at 5280. That's in Littleton. And then went over to Vision Comics and Oddities again. I love that place. It was fun talking with the owner actually over at 5280 as well. Really nice person, and he's got a lot of knowledge, sales trends. It's a good talking shop. A lot of these places in Denver actually. Try not to let the one or two shops get the rest of them down, you know. The big picture is that I'm having fun and I am spending a lot of money. Which is nuts. Right now, I cut some spending and that was painful. I walked out of 5280 with just like, what? Yeah, just this many comics. It's fun hanging out there. Got these comics and then got a stack over at Vision Comics and Oddities. They got some nice outdoor seating. It's a good shop talk over there as well. And found some indie, some DIY comics, do-it-yourself comics, self-made comics over at Vision Comics and Oddities. They're trying to start to publish their own line, kind of like how Caliber Comics, I think it was Gary Reed, used part of his comic book shop to create Caliber Comics. So, real quick, this is the comic that they made last year. They didn't have one this year, and it's just actually stills. It's just images each page. It's more of a promo of what they can do. They got it for sale, and the artwork in here is pretty amazing. I'll show you in a minute. Plus another indie comic that I got over there that I'm going to show off. Yeah, some great local talent I'm finding out about in the Denver area. Black Panther, the final round. Now check out these covers. This is Black Panther number 20. We're talking around the year 2000. So we have an appearance of Moon Knight and Brother Voodoo in these comics. Brother Voodoo helps Moon Knight go to the dream world while T'Challa's clinging on to life. And originally T'Challa gets his ass kicked by Mr. Killmonger, who becomes Black Panther. In order to re-up on the heart-shaped herb, T'Challa's got to end up heading over to the Temple of Khonshu, of course. Confronts Moon Knight for a minute, and then Moon Knight ends up going back into this realm of nightmare to help get Black Panther back. Now these covers right here, you just gotta check this out. We got the interiors are by Sal Velluto. Right, all the issues are done by Christopher Priest. Now this cover right here versus this cover here. Right? Now, hold on. Right here. And right here. Wish I could get all these in, but you get my point. These two covers right here, Black Panther number 20 and Black Panther number 26. Bob Allman did the inks. Yeah, Bob Allman did the inks. Okay. Steve Geiger did the inks for Black Panther number 21 and 22. Shuffling these around. It's the same artist, Sal Velluto. But the inker is Steve Geiger. Now tell me how this look here, the anatomy, the way the body stretches out here as it's leaping, both of these similar poses versus almost like a Mike Deodato style with the bulkier, thicker inks of the Bob Allman inks here on this Black Panther number 20 and 26. My point is, when I name off the writer or the artist, and I always include the inker, it matters significantly. They're both amazing. I wouldn't have gotten the comics if I didn't, but that's my point. Right, Bob Allman inks, right here, Sal Velluto art. Sal Velluto art, Black Panther 21, 22, with Steve Geiger inks. Where the price for these were actually cover price. I paid $250. And those came out around spring, summer of 2000. And here we got from May 1997, like May, June, July cover date, these direct edition of Spawn. And once again, we're going to go through my point here about the inker. Dwayne Turner did these covers, all right? So here, with issue number 9, it looks like we got Dwayne Turner doing a drawing over here on the left with Todd McFarlane drawing on the right. And I think that's what Capullo doing the finishes. Alan McElroy is the writer of this Curse of the Spawn story with Angela. That's Dwayne Turner art with Danny Mickey inks. Danny M-I-K-I, Mickey inks. And now here's Dwayne Turner art with Dwayne Turner doing his own inks. Right here. Curse of the Spawn 11. Angela battles her sister Lilith through a temporal storm. That's a synopsis from Comix.org. $6 for this issue and $4 for the other two. Inglewood, Colorado, Vision Comics and Oddities. So yeah, he's starting to experiment with publishing local talent. Kind of like how Gary Reed did over at Caliber Comics. Vision Comics and Oddities has this comic that he's starting to self-publish. They didn't have anything for 2020, but over in 2019, he published just this kind of a promo. It's just all stills, images of what potentially could be local artists. Now I'm looking through this and I'm thinking, all right, I see a lot of this type of work. A lot of like murals, like street art type stuff, and I didn't really think anything of it. That is Zac Kellington Conley. All right, then we got this other cat here, Jose Salcedo. So sorry if I'm not getting that name right, but this is crazy. It's almost like a print right here. And then, all right, lovely, kind of like a She-Hulk witch. Not sure if it's like a Grimm's fairy tale, but sorry for the glare. Spider-Man, really cool looking Mysterio going on right there. Now, that same person that did that print looking like chimpanzee, looks like something from 13 Monkeys or whatever, but it's the same artist right here. Reminds me of Jeff Darrow. This panoramic scene, black and white view here that he did. This is local artists out of the Denver area. Now back to that other guy, Zac Kellington Conley. Now this is, I love this. You know what I'm saying right here? I mean, yeah, sorry, I'm not going to put out Tim Husky digging that belt. For me personally, this appeals to me. At first glance, I blew it off as just sort of like street art looking mural type art. But these days, this is the type of stuff that, especially if somebody keeps to it, you know, hones it like a martial art, then yeah, something like this going in a direction long term. Right? And you're probably wondering, how would this look, right, in sequential art form from Mr. Zac Kellington Conley? So I got something here. This is from Skoobiverse. Justin Matott, Matott. Sorry for not getting the names right. The art by Zac Kellington Conley. And this didn't really call to me at first. When the owner showed it to me, I really love the colors and the black background, the contrast, the details with this monster. But, you know, you can say, okay, there's a monster on the cover, okay. Like that, a lot of people can do a monster on the cover, right? Look at this kid in the boat. He's holding on, right? Yeah, there's some depth to this comic. This personal story about this kid whose brother's missing, his older brother's missing. And he's a precocious young lad. He's so smart. He's the smartest one in class. The only person that's smarter, just as smart as him, is this girl that he's got a crush on, right? The print, the lettering, how it is white on the black background. At first that was a turnoff for me, but as you can see, as class starts, as they get in perspective with that dragonfly on the outside and the brickwork, and then they get into the classroom with the view of the teacher, the mind of the kid is going to the paper airplane, is using it as a means to send notes and drawings that they make. He can order these items off of these old comic books he finds, like these, sea monkeys. You buy one, you get 3 more for free or something like that. Well, it turns out one of them eats the other ones, and it grows huge. This is all written as a narrative, as a flashback. This guy's retreated almost to his childhood, almost like he's in trouble, right? And he's going to his old childhood fort, or almost like a Stand By Me beginning. The lettering I started to dig, even though it was the white on the black, I've had some bad experiences with that in the past, and that started working out. And this is recent. This is published in 2020. It's kind of got a dark Halloween theme, Goosebumps theme in a way too. Here we got like the mind of this young adult just going, the Rubik's Cube, great metaphor. He's tripping on this sea monkey that he think grew big enough and ate his brother, but he's not sure. But just that his older brother is missing. He's writing this. I think he's a little bit older. I'm not sure how old yet, but he's in his old treehouse, and his story now is the story that he's writing from that subjective point of view, basically, right? He got into some trouble, I think. And one of the items that he got from this company that makes these inventions, this glass goo that he puts on his lenses, it's voice activated, right? He can order stuff through it as well. He got this matchbox where if you pull the cord, boom, it turns into this hover, skateboard and bullies, and he has to go into this house to escape. Check out the artwork, how at first it almost seems like it isn't clear enough to follow, but once you get into it and the weirdness of it, it fits in with the weirdness of the gadgets and the weirdness of the situation with how he's tripping on his brother missing, and almost like it's not necessarily a street vibe too. Like the map that he has here when he his glasses teach him how to they give him directions like GPS on how to reach this lake. And the maps though on here with the colors, it even looks almost like a kid's textbook. I have to say, in a way, it reminds me of some of the images, the way that looks. So he's, we got the point of view of the kid, and there's some images. There's somebody following him. He finds out later that has been taking these black and white pictures of him without him being able to notice, and you kind of assume and wonder why. And I think it's this other girl that's also just as precocious as him that he's crushing on. Anyway, it's a young adult book, but I really am taking some time out here to point it out. There he is meeting his friends, and he's telling them all the rundown. He's giving them all the 411 and what he's going through and what he's trying to deal with. So that's how it ends. And check out this back cover. Yeah. Right? Troubled waters ahead. So I'm impressed. I wasn't quite into the book. I was afraid it was going to be too kid-like. Yes, it is a young adult book, but yes, it's The Method to the Mayhem, the sequential art by Mr. Skellington Conley. It pulls me in. So I wasn't into it, I gotta say. Just that type of hairstyles and the type of like faces that they do, and excuse me, but the contrasts with just the blacks and that black base to a lot of just the artwork here. It's well done. I'm digging on this composition. There's something more to it. I can say I've seen a lot of amateurs, newbies, first timers do this type of style a little bit, but once again, you got that perspective right here. It's not just two-dimensional. It lives in the lake. A summer, a sea monster ate my brother. 1 of 6, $5. By the way, this is the back of when I was showing this comic here. This Vision Comics Halloween special. It's pretty amazing cover right there. I can't quite tell that artist's signature, but check. So yeah, I had a hell of a time hanging out there at Vision Comics and Oddities. While I was going through their new, just came in, I came upon this one, and I wasn't quite sure what this was. It looked modern, but then it looked old. A lot of people have been redoing these type of old EC comic covers. I wasn't sure if this was from the 90s, the 80s, what. And it turns out it's a recent comic that a local artist did. It's the art of Mark May. Silent Mayhem Productions. When I saw this, just was looking at this comic art here where it says comic art, that image of Daredevil, and right there I knew I wanted to get this. And then you got the Boba Fett. First instinct when I saw this, I was thinking like vampire, but I haven't opened this yet. Jolting Tales of Terror in an SMP tradition. And this is from another local artist from the Denver area, Jeffrey Peterson. You know, when I was talking to the owner over at 5280, he was talking a lot about how, comics, when they come out during certain historical events, especially in the year 2020, people will remember those comics. And a lot of the comics this year have had a low print run. So people attach, their memories, their emotions to certain events with those comics when they come out, and they'll become collectibles, especially with the low print run that they've been having this year. That's a good point. Those comics, certain lulls in the business, low print runs, just like we do this year, as well as back when New Marvel was going on. Well, regardless of print runs, I mean, obviously this has got a low print run, right? This is this handmade comic. It's really amazing because it came out in April 2015, around the time when weed became legal in Denver. And Denver and Washington State were like the two states where weed became legal. I mean, it's now federal in Canada, the whole country over there. We just got a few new states this year. We're at New Jersey. God, Arizona, I want to believe it's got recreational. Montana, South Dakota. Rainy Day Women. Dope comics for people on dope. Cali Chronic. As seen on Inspired by Marijuana Show. Let's check it out just for a second. Art and story by Jeffrey Peterson. And got that for $4. Much respect for handmade DIY comic books. I really think this is a cultural, historical landmark type of comic for the United States, and I'm psyched that I got it, especially that it's from a local artist out of the Denver area. Word. Thank you, Chris, over at Fishing Comics and Oddities, for pointing that out to me. He was like, oh man, he's like, that's a local comic book artist from Denver? Jeffrey Peterson? And he's like, Mark May? He's like, that guy's from Denver? And I'm looking for the comic, that's why I'm pausing here. Justin Matott and Zac Kellington Conley's comic. Amazing work here. It lives in the lake. And then I got to find out about this. And it's cool to find out about a comic book shop trying to print their own stuff, especially in a community like Denver. Has a lot of local talent. And it's cool to get something new right when they're on there working on the ground up. Right around the ground floor. So I got myself this copy here and then my reader copy to show off to y'all.
Let me ask you a question. And be honest. Do I make you horny, baby? Do I make you horny? Do I? Do I make you rat? Do I make you rat? Do I make you rat?
That is a Chris Scalf cover. This came out around summer of 2014, and that is the first comic book appearance of the Dark Saber. Got this for $1. It's the True Believers reprint that came out in, I believe, 2019. In 2014, you had issue number 1. In May, June, issue number 2. Paid $40 for issue number 1 and $15 to $20 for 2 through 4. I don't remember in my previous vid when I had recently purchased it. I posted the vid right after I bought it. I mentioned the exact price there. Ordered number, I think it was 3 online off eBay. Next up, I got a reprint of 1975's Giant Size X-Men #1, True Believers. Got it for $1. Chris Claremont and David Cockrum doing the art. It's from May 1994. These for $5 a piece. Really great shape. The first and fourth issue. I passed on the second and third. Had a bunch of spine ticks. The backs were all scuffed up. This is what I got. I figured it was a lot better condition. Frank Miller doing the pencils and the inks. And this is a reprint of the story of how Elektra was revived back to life. Here we have the last issue, issue 28 of Alias. The issue is from cover date January 2004. Brian Michael Bendis, story. Michael Gaydos doing the art. One of those comics that got me back into reading again after I dropped out around 1989, 1990. I always go off about this whole new Marvel shtick, but there really was this little mini renaissance that was going on. Alias ran from November 2001 until the top of 2004. One of my favorite stories, detective tragedy that ends as a nice love story. Yeah, the book ends the entire run there. So I knew when I was looking back at my inventory that I needed issue number 2 of this first Grand Design run. It was this one, actually, so I'm glad I got both. Either way, I know that these are hot comics. Somebody's always going to be interested in Ed Piskor. This is issue 2, cover A, second printing. Look at let's check out the shape of this. It's a nice black. Yeah, that's not bad. Got some dust on it. Oh no, not quite actually. A little bit more than that. Some schmutz, a whole lot of it. All right. Hey, if anybody wants to help me with the grading, here's another grading opportunity. Sharp corners. Spine is looking good. Really beautiful. And spine is looking good. What condition would you guys say? Because this has not been opened. The black though does have this, kind of looks like dust at first, but I don't know if that can be cleaned off. That's just how it's manufactured. The type of paper stock is going to end up with this. It's inevitable. Let me know what you think. Thanks. Let's move on with the get-go. Okay, this is called a typewriter. Yeah, when you hit your fingers on the typewriter, little people pop out of the machine and pull these bars up, and they create letters. On May 2003, this is volume 1. The cover price is $5.95. I got this for $6 cover price, basically. Avatar Press. Check out you can tell it's a little bit thicker. Some synopsis here. Basic idea, thinking about comics, is chapter 1. Chapter 2, reaching the reader, structure, pacing, storytelling. Chapter 3 is called world building, place and personality. And chapter 4 is the details, plot and script. Cover is by Juan Jose Rip. And the interior art is Jason Burrows. 2 longtime collaborators of Alan Moore's, especially with Avatar Press. 1992. Arthur Sidyam. Arthur Sidyam. Cover painting is dated 91. The books have a cover date of January 1992. So yeah, basically 1991. This guy's like, get the hell off my yard. And this other dude's like, and then he's like, all right then, I'll stand my ground. And he's all like, mayhem ensues. And that's pretty much the story. You've got script by Dave Gibbons. Probably hates me right now for that synopsis. And the interior pencils are by Andy Kubert. That was a 3-issue limited series from DC Dark Horse. Another DC Dark Horse. He had all 4 of them. I just wanted the 4th one. I like how that red, orange pops. You know, for all the comics that I'm still going to be showing and that I've already showed, that's all just more money being spent. And I had already cut off, Batman Jazz and Batman Nosferatu. So I decided to keep this one. I know the covers are by Paul Galassi, inks Terry Austin, but that's the same team for the interiors, by the way, and that script is by Doug Munch. I got that for $4, but I just had to make sacrifices. This is another Mother Panic comic from January 2017 is the cover date, and that pencil's on that cover right there. That is the, see if you can get that. Anyway, cover 3. I should say that's the C cover. That is 3. Jody Hauser's the creator, as well as Tommy Lee Edwards of Mother Panic. And you've got this woman named Violet Page. And she returns to Gotham City in the guise of Mother Panic. So much information that I get out at comix.org and Comic Vine. Check out those 2 sites. MyComicShop.com as well has some great references, but I always find that I always got to combine all 3. I also got a membership with CoverPrice.com. That's COVR price.com. And so far, it's listing, top shakers, top movers. Movers is like the most sold that day, that week. Shakers, the highest price sold, and they also show average price raw, average price graded. Top lists are based on real data, and that's what's important. I think they have 4 main sources that they keep private. I think 2 of them, though, are eBay and My Comic Shop. I digress. Got a few more comics to show. Morlocks. By the way, I just want to keep moving, but this is the cover 4, the D cover for this. It is a Tommy Lee Edwards cover. He did the A cover and he did the 4th one for this. It's black and white. It's really cool. That's the one to get. That's the hard one to get. This is like the second hardest one. And the Paul Pope one's really cool, but as that other Tommy Lee 4th cover, because there's 4 covers for that first appearance of Mother Panic, and that is my Gotham spec pick of she's gonna have her own show on the CW or I don't know, HBO Max. You'll see. Who knows? It's just fun, and look, I only paid $4 for that comic. This is for $3. Morlocks #1 direct edition. This is, though, as you can see, it's during that early 21st century New Marvel era, low print run era, but also great idea era. A lot of characterization based stories. District X came out of that era as well, but here we have a little bit more grittier story here. Cover date is June 2002, and that cover is by Sean Martinborough. My synopsis at comics.org. A dying gangbanger discovers he has strange mutant powers and is rescued from the police by a band of Morlocks living underneath Chicago. Jeff Johns script, Sean Martinberg doing the pencils and inks. Coming from the mid-'80s when there wasn't a lot of time and effort invested into composition, speculator route, bubble route, putting Wolverine on every cover. You knew a book was failing when you saw Wolverine on the cover, right? And it would say first issue, and all of a sudden everybody was a mutant and so forth. Yeah, I mean, you look at gimmicks today, and some of the gimmicks today, they're opening up new markets. The variant cover, for better or for worse, that's a new market. I'm not talking about newsstands versus direct, by the way. Those can be considered variants, fine. But it's great. If people want to collect comics like trading cards, I don't want to put that down. I'm not putting down trading cards. But you have a larger size format, and it's going to allow you to appreciate it better. I mean, if you're looking at trading cards, you're probably like, damn, I wish why don't they have these in larger size so I can appreciate the art? Here it is, the variant cover market. So when I was looking at this type of work in 2000s, early 2000s, there was a lot of stuff that was booming, becoming a lot more common, ubiquitous throughout the big two, higher quality forms of cover work. And I heard Bill Jamas was partly due to that. He wanted to have things seem more mainstream as well, to appeal to look more like magazines, and they used a lot of that graphic design techniques and applied that towards Marvel Comics in those early 2000s. And so you have a lot of these covers that have just a single person, something that would be like an expose that would kind of define that character. Once again, characterization-based storytelling. Like I always say, it saved Marvel's ass. It got a lot of old school people back into reading comics, and it brought a lot of new people in. New people in that had a higher level of how do I put it? Reading standard. I think that's why more adults are reading comics today, because people are writing stuff a little bit more sophisticated. And I'm not necessarily talking about Marvel, because I think they did drop the ball, as well as DC, the past 8 years or so. Who knows? I digress, because my point is, this was $3 and it's in great condition. The Inhumans. Carlos Pacheco is the writer of this story, this 4-issue limited series. And Jose Ladron is also doing the interiors. God damn. Shit, I'm not touching this. I've got a reader copy somewhere that's beat up. If I ever find that, we'll take a look. But low print run, people, even though it's direct. Lovely, lovely, lovely. I'm psyched. Nice. Jim Lee cover of this reprint of X-Men number 10. This came with the Marvel Legends Toy Biz long shot figure, action figure. February 2006 apparently is when this initially came out. Another Toy Biz Marvel Legends reprint. I believe this, though, is from October 2000, and it is a reprint from 1984's Amazing Spider-Man 252. Used to be considered the first black Spider-Man costume, but I think now there's Marvel Team Up Volume 1, number 141. Yeah, it's got Daredevil and Black Widow on the cover. That one, and I know Amazing Spider-Man 252 are the two contenders for the first appearance of the black costume. I mean, look, I think maybe a lot of people in the United States have got this contender, the number one, top of the pyramid. It's got to be only one. There can be only one, right? Highlander. So, comics is a collaborative venture. There cannot be only one. There cannot be only one. You know what I'm saying? So, sure, there's two. I love it how people like to argue about the cameo. Let's do it. It's fun. Just as a collector and for buying and selling and understanding the market. And okay, you know, I think 252, Amazing Spider-Man, that really is the first appearance of the black costume. If people are willing to pay a premium for Marvel Team Up number 141 as well, I got a couple copies of that. So right now I am not doing any selling. Selling is new for me. If anybody has any advice on selling, let me know. eBay or Amazon, what do you prefer? Or do you prefer Craigslist or holding out until there's local cons again? Just the places that the Elks Club, the Knights of the Columbus, the local community hall, auction hall, whatever. Or is it just basically, hey, stick with yard sales, estate sales, Craigslist, or is letgo.com and Facebook Marketplace new avenues, or are those old fads? Let me know. When I walked into Vision Comics and Oddities, I thought I was only going to get a couple of comics. This was the first one that I grabbed out of his new arrivals boxes he had on the side, and I'm like, it's on. This is a great condition out of 1984, Alpha Flight number 13. Interestingly enough, here in issue number 13 out of August of 1984, it's the cover date. It says script, pencils, inks by John Byrne. It says here at comix.org, the first 11 pages of the story are a dream sequence. Comic legend has it that due to the infamous Byrne-Claremont feud, Byrne had a difficult time obtaining permission to use Wolverine in this series and was only allowed to use Wolvie in an illusionary sequence. An illusionary sequence with no dialogue, even though he appears and speaks on the cover for this issue. Things must have cleared up somewhat as Logan appears properly in Alpha Flight number 16 and 17. In the splash page credits, Jim Shooter's name appears on a gravestone carved as the Grim Reaper. That's per comix.org. You also have, by the way, looks like Byrne right there. Milgram maybe, and Sienkiewicz, gravestones in the background of this John Byrne comic that is about Heather Hudson getting over the death of James Hudson. So there's so much to buy. There's so much to spend on. I could have got issue number 12. I could have got issue number 1 of Alpha Flight while I was over at this comic shop, over at Vision Comics and Oddities. And I didn't. Why didn't I do it? Because I need to start saving money. I'm spending a lot. Like I said before in some previous vids, I'm starting to get third copies now of some of these comics. And at that point, it's making me want to put my foot on the brake here and be like, all right, if I'm going to be getting third copies of something, at this point, do I just want to get maybe a CGC? And if I get a CGC, what if it's anything after the year 1985? I basically want to get it at least a 9.6 as either a newsstand and some type of autograph on it, or if it's super modern, it has to be a variant with a CGC certified autograph, basically, if not remarked with some type of sketch drawing. And then if I'm going to do that, buy a bunch of CGC comics, there's the bulk of that. Why not just get original artwork? Why not save up and get original artwork? You know, there's lots of original artwork that I scoped out. Point being, I'm amassing a lot of comics. I've got, a lot. In any case, starting to put my foot on the brakes and think about also investing more into some trade paperbacks and less frequency in spending and more quality in what I'm spending on. That's my wrap. I've been doing this all night. The sun's coming up and it's Sunday. Hope you all have a great day. Thank you so much for visiting Sequential Geek, the YouTube channel that is your resource here. Peace. Word to your mother. Stay safe, mask up, and deck them halls.